is now 2 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get kicked off. There's a lot of people that are still going to get signed on, but I just wanted to quickly introduce myself, guys. My name is Tim Ross. A lot of you guys know me from Mundlik Mail. I'm now the president and co-founder and of Upswell. Our webinar today is how to increase car count through digital marketing. We have our very inspiring digital strategist partner, Rusty, with us today. Rusty, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
A few ground rules, guys. We're going to try to keep this going fairly quickly. Everybody is on mute. You can see me. You can see Rusty. I've been told I have a face for radio, so I just want to put that out there for everybody. We want to keep this kind of lively. If you guys have some questions, because there's so many people signing on to the webinar today, which we greatly appreciate. If you have a question, you guys can enter the question in the webinar box there and then hit send, and I'll see those. Sydney, our wonderful marketing manager, is also with us today. So between the three of us, we're going to answer some questions, provide you guys some valuable information, and help get you guys started. So for those of you who don't remember, Tim Ross, president and co-founder. I started Mundlik Mail 12 years ago, believe it or not. We grew it up to about 50 million in sales, and then over the last couple of years, we've done a little bit of a change. We've altered our name. We've bought some companies. We've added all kinds of digital capabilities to go with our direct mail capabilities. We've been very lucky to bring on some real successful partners, Rusty's being one of those. And so I want to introduce Rusty. He's in Florida. So Rusty, welcome, and tell us a little about yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, a little bit about myself, Tim. Well, I'll kind of just start from the beginning. I went to college for video and multimedia. I don't want to sound like a baby here, but when I graduated, I kind of quickly realized that having a online presence was where it was all going. And then it was kind of, well, I have to get sales for my website. What is the best way to design my website to get leads from the advertising dollars? So, and when people wanted to know, how do I get to the top of Google? So like any other entrepreneur, I kind of scrambled to find a solution for my customers. And now being the CEO of Latitude Park, owning PressRelease.1 and Velocity Rev for a decade, we've figured out, what it takes to have a successful reputation online. We know how to quickly find the things that are hurting a business online. And we're also looking for quick wins for our clients and ways we can start to build your customer base. We not only want to generate leads for you, but we want to be a real catalyst in your growth and be able to help you control and scale your growth. We want to see you buying new equipment, expanding your business, and working with Upswell. It's been a great opportunity. It's great to be on this podcast. Thank you very much, Tim. And hopefully we can reinstill what some of you probably already know. You've probably already gotten your feet wet, obviously, with marketing online, and maybe educate some of you on the value of these different ways to be seen online and capture new customers. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely, very, very good. Okay, we'll move on through the presentation and we'll go on to the next slide. And guys, and here is what we want to kind of talk a little bit about. There is so much information online about what you should do, what is digital, marketing, what's it encompass, how much should you do it. I think everybody that's in a marketing role with any business out there realizes these days that marketing is a collection of touches. There's not just one thing that you should be doing. It's a collection of things, and of those collections, people will toggle and spend more or less or do more or less on various tactics depending on what is your business needs, what's your business goals. I put some things up here, and guys, one of the things I want to remind you, we're going to be able to provide this presentation, some of this data to you guys at the end of the presentation. So if you're trying to scribble notes down on what you see on these slides, we're going to send that to you after the event today. So hang tight. But I just want to touch base on a couple of things. 93% of online experiences begin with a search engine, right? A lot of you guys know, right? And somebody, you need some service or product, somebody tells you about a company. First thing we do is we go online. Google, for a lot of you guys already know this, currently holds 90% of the total search market, that's a big number. And a lot of you guys probably know Bing and Yahoo and some of the other providers. But are you maximizing Google? How does Google work? 81% of people perform some type of an online search before making a large purchase. And a lot of this, you guys know this, it's common sense. But it's important that you guys know that the digital side, and a lot of you guys know this, it's a big deal. It's very important. 47% of consumers are reviewing 3 to 5 pieces of content before talking to a business. Now that could mean they saw you online, they got a postcard in the mail, all of a sudden you popped up in Facebook. What is that collection? What is those 3 to 5 pieces of content, information about your business, what you do, what service gets a person interested in doing business with you? And 75, this is really important, 75% of people never scroll past the first page. We're going to look at, when do you use pay-per-clicks? How important is SEO, and how do I get seen from a Facebook or social media standpoint? So a lot of great information to get started. So we'll move on to the next slide, and I'm going to kind of talk through kind of our agenda today, guys. Is we're going to talk a little bit about pay-per-click. Then from there, we'll go on to search engine marketing, reputation management, website remarketing, and social media. When we talk about digital marketing, guys, these are the areas that we really talk about. A lot of times you guys will get, somebody will call you, it'll be a colleague, a friend, a marketing person, and they'll say, hey, what are you doing for digital? We wanted to be able to define digital for you, and we were lucky to have Rusty in here to really he's going to start breaking these things down for you. So when someone says, what are you doing digitally, or I got this digital product, I wanted you guys to kind of know this is kind of the things that it falls into play. And you may not see mobile advertising and target display. Rusty's going to show you kind of where that fits into this group here. Because these are really the 5 main categories that you should not only know about, you should understand what are they, what expectations should you have, how much money maybe should you be spending, how do you track and measure it, and does your facility need this or not, and if it does, why? And so those are some of the things we're going to cover today. And so just as a reminder, everybody, I've got everybody else on mute. We have a lot of people, well over 100 some people signed up for this event. And so everybody's on mute. If you have a question, if you could go into the question box and add that question and type it in, we'll be happy to get to as many questions as possible. As I mentioned, everybody else is on mute. You can see Rusty and I, and we're going to kind of go through this presentation. So we'll go ahead now and get started on the next slide. And Rusty, talk a little bit about pay-per-click, and why it's important, and what these people need to know about.
Yeah, pay-per-click is obviously a fundamental form of online advertising. It's great because if you want leads within the next 2 hours, pay-per-click is one of those things that can deliver that. So it's instantaneous, which makes it great. You can be up and running quickly. You basically bypass the SEO waiting period. So if you're trying to get to the top of Google and you just got a new website, or your website is on the 10th page of Google, pay-per-click's probably something you want to spend some money on, so you're getting those leads coming in the house. So you're at the top of search engine, just costs you some money. So you have to, definitely something you got to bring money to, and you got to be prepared to invest a percentage of your revenue into every sale. So one of the big advantages of pay-per-click is that it's scalable. So if you're slow, you can have an ad campaign on pause. You can get that thing running, and you can get the phones ringing. You can run ads during shop hours, and then you can keep the phones ringing during shop hours and the leads coming in. And then when you're away, the ads can be scheduled to pause. So you can kind of control that a bit more. As far as the ways we take advantage of it is you can bid on your competitors' keywords in your area. So if there's a large competitor in your area and they're well branded and people are actually typing in the name of their business, we can bid on those keywords, and we can kind of snipe that traffic. So it's very powerful. One of the most important things about PPC that some people may not understand that aren't really doing digital advertising right now is that the ads show when people are actually searching for your product. So they're looking to buy at that moment your ad is displayed. We're not just posting ads on a website and hoping someone needs a transmission repair and paying money for that. We're paying for the click, we're paying for the phone call. So the opportunity is there. You just need to make sure that your website is pulling its weight with the proper tools on it, for people to communicate with you, whether it's like a chat, your phone number, a form to fill out. So once you get people to your website, or you get people to call, you need to make sure you're answering the phone properly, and you need to make sure your website's working well. So, but it's definitely a great way to control your traffic and scale your traffic.
Yeah, and I will tell you, and a lot of you, and I probably did a poor job initially. You know, Rusty works with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of small businesses all over the country, and their goal is, how do I drive traffic to my shop? You know, and a lot of you guys are using postcards with us, or have in the past. As we have grown and expanded as a company, we realize the importance of a digital strategy that has to be combined with any kind of print strategy. And in some cases, some people have shifted more to print, more to digital, and more versus print. And so the goal is now, as an agency, for us, is to give you guys that balance. And so I think it's important having a partner to be able to provide that. And so one of the things, you know, Rusty, I get asked all the time about pay-per-clicks is, you know, how much should I spend? Is it a couple hundred? Is it a couple thousand? I mean, do I set goals? I mean, they get people, I'm sure, all the time asking them, you know, keep spending, keep spending, keep spending. I mean, is there a point of diminished return? And, you know, how's that work?
Well, we actually have a calculator, and I don't know if we publicize it, but I know sales uses it. So essentially, you can see, you know, based on your industry average, how much you have to put into pay-per-click to generate a lead. And a lead could be a phone call or a form filled out. And then you have to look at how many people are leaving every month, or, you know, basically what the outflow is, and then how much you want to grow. And based on that, you can kind of set your budget. And it's okay to start with a small budget to get your feet wet. It's funny because a lot of times people say, you know, I have $500 to spend on ads, and, you know, show me what you can do this month. And I've gone as far as spending the whole $500 just in a few days, and they're like, man, my phone's ringing off the hook. And I'm like, that was $500, you know, but how much money did you actually get in sales? So you can quickly test and see where you're at. You get the phone ringing, you get you get leads coming in from the website. You can kind of see, okay, we're closing 1 out of every 3 of these leads. And then, you know, you come back to Upswell, okay, where are we at money wise? How are we at budget wise? You know, and then you can gauge that. So, and I would be lying if I could just tell you exactly how it's going to pan out, because different areas of the United States, you know, there's going to be different competition on the block. There's going to be a different level of population. So it may be more expensive in one place than another. And most of you guys know that. So, you know, you basically have to find out what your cost per lead is, and then, you know, make sure that you're closing those leads well. So, I mean, but really it could be $500 to $10,000, $20,000 a month, you know.
Well, that's what I like about kind of how you analyze it. We're going to talk a little bit about a digital snapshot report here later at the end of the presentation, about kind of telling you how are you performing with pay-per-click. One of the strategies I know out there, if you're looking for transmission and that's your main words, there are certain keywords you can target. Like maybe you use a lower cost, you use like a postcard to go after an oil change customer, but you're using your pay-per-click campaign to go after broke cars, right? Transmissions, brakes, people that are searching for brakes, searching for transmissions. You know, a great way, guys, is to use pay-per-click is to be very strategic and use your marketing tactics where some of it maybe is targeted towards a certain type of business you're trying to bring in, and another is towards another part. So very good information. Very good. Let's keep moving on to the next slide, and we'll talk a little bit about search engine optimization, because I think this is something that I've been learning as well as I go. Talk a little bit about the need for it, and maybe, you know, I think we have always tried to educate people on direct search versus organic search, you know, and I think when you talk about search engine optimization, you're talking about organic search, you're talking about people trying to find, you know, some kind of an auto repair. Talk a little bit about why that's important, how that's different than pay-per-clicks.
Well, I think the reason why people, you know, people may not know this, but and we've already touched on this a bit, but search is actually the highest trusted and therefore the highest converting form of advertising you can invest in. And we see that in the channel reports. It doesn't matter what vertical you're in. If you have traffic coming from Google Organic, for example, that is going to convert the best when they hit your website. It's a trusted search engine. They're ready to buy. That's when we're displaying your ad, and that's how it works. Obviously, there's a little bit of work involved with search engine optimization. It is a service. It's a business. You know, we offer the service. There's some quick wins that you need to focus on, and elements that build trust with the customer base. First, we have to look at the search engine results page and kind of like what elements are there for your business to participate in, because it's grown a lot. Kind of like search as you see it today has grown because you have your business listing first and foremost. So that displays your reviews, your location information, your business hours. So you want to make sure you're, collecting reviews. Ask your friends, family, definitely ask your customers for reviews. You want to make sure your business information is accurate and your phone number and website are listed. You have the paid ads at the top of the main, web search results, as well as in the business listing section. So when we manage an advertising campaign for a location, we make sure that we have set up the location ad extension. And essentially what that does is that'll display an ad in local search. But it's very important to make sure that that information is correct. You have the organic website results, and that gives you the approximate 10 results on the first page of Google. So search engine optimization, though, is basically the method of optimizing your website and content and your business listing, so they're organically ranked higher than they would be if you just built a website and created a listing without these things in mind. So some of the things that need to be done on the website, to increase your ranking is, and I'm not going to get too into like technical details here, but you want to make sure your content includes the keywords you're trying to rank for when people are searching. It's important to have a blog or articles on your website that speak to automotive repair and contain, the keywords that you want to rank for also. You want to make sure that some of the unseen elements are sending signals to Google, like image meta tags, website description, are things you need to focus on. And we call this keyword saturation or keyword density. This is essentially how you optimize your website for search engines. Optimizing your website popularity, though, is kind of another important factor that goes along with SEO. And we kind of call it all SEO because it gets a little bit crazy when you start calling it SEM, which is like search engine marketing. But this is, this is one of the most difficult things for a business owner to get when they're running a shop. It's trying to get other websites essentially to, give you a shout out. So we call those backlinks or citations. So it's when another website links to your website. For example, an automotive repair guide is talking about performance diesel products, and when talking about upgrades, they write, check out these guys, and that text is linking to your website or an article on your website or your blog. So Google looks at that as a signal, and it's kind of an authoritative signal because sites are referencing you. They're referring to you as an authoritative, site, or where you can get more information on that subject. So essentially, and there's a lot of different ways to actually accomplish the authoritative signal, but that kind of gives you an idea of some of the things that we do for SEO, for optimization.
Yeah, no, and I think a lot of owners, that I've talked with, that's the big frustration is how much do I spend? And it's like it's funny, back in the day, I used to think it was like a hamster on a wheel spinning and nowhere to go, until you start really digging into it and you start realizing that these days people are trying to search and find you in many different ways. And we're going to talk about business listings in just a minute. But one of the things I think that's important is that people understand that you can get some good search engine optimization for not a whole lot of money. It's not like, if you're in New York City, you may have to spend more than if you're in Paducah, Kentucky. So, one of the things I think that you guys on this call, it's our little secret for you guys here at the end, is that I think it's important for you to know where you stand, and to make some decisions on how much you should spend based on real data and evaluation of your facility, of your website. So we're going to be doing that digital snapshot. I'm going to show you a sample of it in a little bit. It's very cool, but it shows you how Rusty can go through and kind of help analyze whether you do work with us or not. You guys are all spending money in pay-per-clicks probably, or have, and you're in search engine, or you have, and you need to understand what you should be doing and how much you should be doing. What business are you losing because you're not spending enough, or how much are you overspending? So really good information on search engines. A lot of stuff going on out there. Let's go on to that next slide, because I think this starts to really tie things in. Before I touch on this slide, just as another reminder, guys, I got everybody on mute, so you can see Rusty and I, but we can't hear anybody. If you have a question, just if you could type it in on the side, hit the enter button, and I'll try to go through as many of those as we can. Just want to give you a quick take on that. So let's talk about reputation management. I'm sure owners, they get real frustrated. I've talked to hundreds of them over thousands probably over my time. It feels like, man, how do you manage that? What should you do about it? Is it important? And how do you manage it? What should we be thinking about? Especially these days, people seem to be more and more in tune to these reviews, more so than they were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It's evolving.
Yeah, it's undeniable. I mean, when we're talking about local listings, when somebody, we're talking about search engine optimization, when people are basically looking at Google on their phone or whatever, they're going to see your review. They're going to see your review rating. So they're going to know whether, you mess some people over or you're a great business and there's a lot of people, leaving you a lot of feedback. It's very important to, in maintaining the integrity of your business online. It's very important to have a 4 or 5 star rating. You don't have to have a 5-star rating. Nobody's perfect. If you don't have that, it's definitely a factor to address quickly. And it is something you can see in that report. You can kind of see an overview of that, and you can see kind of where your data is on all the SERPs as far as local SEO, but it does show you where your reputation lies, which is very important. In fact, that snapshot is one of the things that we look at immediately when we're onboarding someone. There's no shortcuts to reviews. You can't go out and buy 30 reviews. So it's important to basically maintain a procedure within your business to collect reviews. We offer a software. There's plenty out there, but it's very important to collect reviews. And it's not just if you have a good or a bad review, but if you have 10 reviews that are 5 stars, but all of a sudden you have 1 or 2 bad reviews and they give you 1 star, because it's hard to get a 3-star. That's like an odd one. They either love you or they hate you. So if you have 10 reviews, you get 2 bad reviews, that is going to ruin your score. So it's better to have 100 reviews. So even if you have great reviews, but you have 18, you still need to really turn up the volume on that. So it kind of maintains that liquidity, I guess you would say. So, two people can't just knock you down. It's also important to respond to reviews, and you want to kind of maintain that friendly level of communication on Google. And there's a ton of other review platforms. There's automotive-based platforms where people can leave reviews, and they're just popping up every day. So you really have to get a handle on it. I kind of wish there was only one platform where you could leave a review,
Right.
and it be like the Better Business Bureau, but now there's a million of them. So you really have to focus on that.
Yeah, and I know, it's funny. I see, I'm Facebook friends with a lot of these shop owners, and I see, not so kind words about certain reputation management organizations. Sounds like help, but I won't say the word. But I think the thing is, what's important is that you've spent some money with whether it's a postcard or it's a pay-per-click, or people find search engine optimization, they find you. You've worked all that hard to get that customer to find you, only to kind of find you and there's no reviews, or it's a really mixed bag. I think people can appreciate, if you're going to get some bad reviews, you're going to have an employee or a customer that had a really bad day and there's just nothing you can do about it. How you react to that? Did you pick up the phone? Did you call the person? Did you ask him to remove it? Did you put some kind of an email in or a response back in? I think that's very, very, very important for you guys. And one of the things I have been told is that Google right now too is holding a lot of the reviews. They're not releasing those right now. Is there any information on that, Rusty, that you could share? I think what I've heard is they're holding on to them because they're trying to make sure small businesses are impacted at this point because we're in this pandemic, but there's going to come a point when it's passed where they're going to then start releasing them again. Is that?
Yeah, and I think that is the plan, but there's nothing definitive right now. But people are leaving reviews, obviously. We see them coming through. So if people are able to leave a review, which obviously reflects to the path of opening it back up again for popular view. Yeah.
Well, and we'll move on to the next slide. And while Sydney's moving to the next slide, you know, my old partner Greg Sands, you guys know he owns 30-some shops still. He always used to tell me back in the day when I worked for him is that, you know, the key is to go back after that customer with a passion and try to fix it. You know, and sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't, but you got to show that you made the effort. I think people appreciate that. I don't think anyone thinks you're going to all get 5 stars on that, but I think the goal is, do you have them recently? I've seen some really good contests that owners have put on, right? Where, you know, drop us, if you leave us a review, maybe the customer can get something, or for the service writers, I've seen things like, you know, if you get 5 reviews, you can earn a $50 gift card. And so just things like that to build some excitement in your organization to help get those reviews going, I think is important. Well, let's tie this together a little bit, Rusty, with website and retargeting, because, you know, you got all these people. You made some really good points earlier where you said, you know, you've got people, you know, targeted to your business now. They always go to your website. And I think one of the biggest things is people, they struggle with this converting people on their website. Talk a little bit about how this all website ties together with those other tactics and things that you guys do. And I will tell you guys, Rusty does an incredible website. It's quick, it's a low-cost monthly website, but what he does really good is he makes sure that there's certain parts of your website are very well showcased, and there's many interactive points with the customer that they can contact you. Rusty, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and the website really, at least at this point, it's really the core. You know, that could almost be the first slide. It's so important because, you know, your website basically shows your brand the way you direct it. You know, it's not Google's version or Yelp's version. It's not just pictures that people posted. You know, you can communicate with your customers. You can offer specials. You know, with the COVID-19 pandemic, everybody's posting the messages on their website to whether they're open or closed, or what the standard procedure is for, you know, delivery or bringing a vehicle to the shop, however that goes. The most important website, like you said, is capturing the lead. So the phone call, the appointment form, that's where kind of your automated marketing kicks in. And there's ways to capture leads on Facebook and stuff like that, but the website can give them a little bit of research data. You know, you can have pages of content, all the services that you offer. So it's very informative, and it's usually good at closing the customer and creating that lead if you've done your job well on the website, or we've done the job if we're building it. You know, so this is also where you capture your visitor for remarketing. So remarketing is very effective because a lot of people will visit your website, but then they leave to go check out their competitors, and then maybe they get distracted and decide to hop on Facebook because they get a push notification. It's like Uncle Joey's birthday. And then remarketing kind of starts with this script. You put it on your website, tells the browser on their phone or your computer to download a pixel onto their device. So they go to your website, they get this pixel onto their phone, they get this pixel onto their computer. So then when they jump off your website to wish Uncle Joey happy birthday on Facebook, they're going to see your ad on Facebook. And why do they see your ad on Facebook? Because you've invested in Facebook ads, and you've put the Facebook pixel on your website along with the Google pixel. So when they see your ad on Facebook, at that point, they are starting to think that you're really good at what you do, because basically you are everywhere. Even if they don't act on that ad, when they get done with the kind of infinite Facebook scroll, they snap back to whatever they're doing online. They see your ad on every site they go to that has Google AdSense installed, which are basically all of the large sites online, including YouTube, that. So essentially, and that's because you have the Google remarketing pixel installed as well. So it's really important that we get the Facebook pixel and the Google remarketing pixel JavaScript on your website, whether we build your website or not. That's very important because that gets onto their computer. And then you have, and I saw this average once, and I don't know if this is 100% true, but they say 96% of people, the first time they visit your site, they don't buy anything, they don't act. So essentially you're getting 4%, which I'd like to think it's 50%, let's say, but you're getting a small percentage of people that are buying right away or calling you right away. So it's always good to capture that marketing dollar that you spent, because you may have spent $5 for that click. So you want to make sure you capture that visitor and you can remarket to them. So that's very, very important. So, kind of to conclude that, your website is your brand online, and it's also the vehicle for leads and remarketing. So that's
how important is having a mobile friendly site these days?
Oh, Well, Google actually is mobile first now. So when Google looks at your site, as far as ranking factors, they're looking at the mobile site first. So it's very important. It's very important that it loads quickly. It's very important that you can tap to call. The customer can tap to call. It's important that, if you want to have a reservation system there, that form is presented to them. So you want to make sure that your lead capture stuff is at the top of your website. Or if you have it way down or in the footer and you don't have it at the top, you just have a menu at the top, you're going to lose a lot of money on pay-per-click. You're going to lose a lot of money on Facebook. So, and Facebook is also Instagram as well. Facebook owns Instagram, but yeah, you're going to lose a lot of money if you don't have that stuff. So if your website is horrible, but you don't have money for a new website, I'd say just make sure you have a big red button or a big red phone number at the top. Is something that's going to create that call to action.
And one of the questions I got was, you were talking about Google Marketing Pixel. He wasn't, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so, all right, so the pixel is essentially, you put a little bit of code on your website when you start a Google AdWord campaign. And that code starts to create a list within your Google AdWord campaign. And you can call that list all website visitors, for example, and that's called a remarketing list. And what you can do is you can create a campaign that re-advertises or re-shows your ad to that person on whatever site they're on. So if you've ever gone to a website and then over the next 30 days you're continually seeing that ad for that website, all of a sudden, that's the power of remarketing, and it works, and everybody knows it does, because when we're browsing for whatever we're browsing for and we see that ad, we start thinking about it again. And the reason is you don't ever want to inspire somebody to make a purchase, but then the competition snipes them away. So you don't ever want to market to someone and kind of get them interested in it, and then when they go on Facebook or they're searching around Google because they get distracted, then all of a sudden when they come back to, oh, wait a second, I need new brakes, then they just go to your competition because you've inspired this move. You want to make sure that you're constantly in front of their face after they visit your site so you can capture that lead. Capture that sale.
And that's one of those things where, what I love about, and I don't know what, I'm sure a lot of these other providers are hopefully doing something similar, but when Rusty does is that he does all the websites for us. He builds these components into these websites because it makes them powerful, and some people ask me about costs, and so let me just back up a little bit. When I talk about SEO costs, we're talking about, you could spend $200 or $300 a month, you could spend $800 a month, you could spend $1,500. There's a report that we're going to be able to show you that tells you what market share you have and what market share you're missing, and then you can make a decision if whether or not you want to invest in that. It's no more, hey, give me $1,000 for SEO. There's now technology, there's data there that helps us make that decision. So that's a really good question. And within that report, I know I got my good buddy Jack asked me, Heilman, hope all's well in Pennsylvania. They should be opening up soon. That we do get reports on clicks, so you can track how many. Not only what I love about this report, you'll see is it tells you how many impressions were out there and how many you got versus what the general public is actually doing, and you can kind of see what your delta is. I mean, explain that, Russ. Is there a way for you to kind of see what you're doing and what maybe the competition's doing and what the complete, if you could ingest every single click or every single impression, what is your full market, right?
Oh yeah, it's a clear cut. The report is like, I always call it's a perfect client facing report is what I call it, because it's clear cut, it's easy to digest, it kind of grades all these different factors for your brand online, and then a little bit more. So like, it reviews your local listing data that we talked about, kind of like the accuracy of your data across location aggregators like Yelp, Foursquare. It looks at about 70 of these aggregators. It tells you if your data is accurate across these SERPs. We call them SERPs. This is important because it affects your location's rank on Google Local. So it's one of those quick wins when it comes to local rank, having all that data. It looks at your reviews. So it gives you a quick look at maybe not every site or like super niche car sites, but all the main ones. So it kind of gives you that overview of how you're doing with reviews online. Do you have bad reviews that you weren't aware of? Do you need more reviews on some of these platforms like we talked about? You want to be saturated. You want to be able to protect yourself from bad reviews. It grades you on your social media exposure, kind of shows you, are you keeping up with the Joneses? a
Right.
great view on your overall advertising landscape online, like you said. So you can get some really good insights. It also grades you on your website SEO. I almost forgot. So you can kind of see if there's room for improvement there. And even if you've have an A on your website SEO package, or on your website SEO, we have products that can kind of cover more of the search engine marketing, the SEM side, like where it's like the initiatives, the promotion, the content syndication, like press release style distribution and more. So, but that report, like I said in the beginning, is definitely the first thing that we look at when we're onboarding, because it gives us a really good overview of you, where your company is online, and kind of how people are seeing you.
Hey, one question I got was, should we be buying ads on Google? Does buying ads on Google help your organic search at all?
Not directly. It's not like you're kind of paying them through the back door, and then they're like, okay, we'll get you to the top. They already have that. You can pay and you can be above all the organic ads, so they're not being shy about that. The way I think that it can actually help your organic ranking is if you don't have a lot of visitors to your website. Let's say you have a crappy website, you don't have a lot of people coming to it, and then you have this brand new website design, and you still don't have a lot of people coming to it. You can run ads, you can get a lot of people to your website, and then those website metrics will send signals to Google like, okay, the abandonment rate of the site has gone down. Like, people are staying on the site longer. They're looking at more pages because we have more bells and whistles now, right? So they're interacting with the website more. The website is better, it's loading quicker. So you can kind of send data to Google a bit quicker by sending traffic to it. So in a roundabout way, you are sending real people. And if you have Google Analytics hooked up, which we hooked that up for every client, or most people already have it hooked up, but that you're kind of directly like plugging Google into your website, like, hey, look at the metrics on my website. So yeah, that can help in a roundabout way with search engine optimization if you're doing well on your website. If you're just sending people to a bad website that loads slow and doesn't have the keywords on it, and people are just bouncing off the first page, then they're going to see the bad real quick.
Yeah, one thing I'll say, Rusty's was telling me about this actually during our practice. I thought it was important for y'all to know is that I'm telling from the South, right? I thought I was not going to say a y'all, but I said a y'all. But y'all should know is it's on your main site. I think what Rusty's really educated me on is how many touch points do you have on that front page? Is your website is the phone number visible? Is it plainly visible where people can see? Can they email you? Can they text you? Is there a form for you to fill out? Do you have a couple of call to actions for people that are easy, obvious, and flexible for that consumer? I think that's really, really important. And like you said, does an ad, I didn't realize how load time and the mobile friendliness played such a big impact on how Google kind of indexes you and ranks you, so it's really impressive on how all these things have to kind of work together. And so one question, Rusty, I skipped on, and I shouldn't have, but what's your, it's Catherine. I love Catherine. I've known Catherine for years. How you doing, Catherine? What's your opinion on Yelp? Like, I know a lot of owners get frustrated because they feel like they're held hostage with Yelp. People go on to Yelp and they put a posting on there, and it's like Yelp will help you if you pay. Tell me about your experience with Yelp, if you don't mind.
Well, Yelp is, it's a reality. So yeah, I don't necessarily think it's the best platform. It's definitely not a great return on investment with ads. It is a bit bulky. I understand the bad reviews and stuff. People can, like I said, it's good to get reviews on all platforms. Solicit. We have software where if you're doing bad on Yelp, we can literally just solicit reviews on Yelp, and that way people are leaving you reviews on Yelp, and the bad ones get watered down. So you just have to, it's a constant fight. But my opinion is just, as any entrepreneur or man, it's just it's something you got to deal with, and we got to figure out how to beat it and become better than it if it's being a problem to you, or take advantage of the upside of it.
Very good. Well, let's keep going. I know we got a lot of questions. A lot of you guys are online. Hang tight with me. If you have some questions, just feel free to type those in. Social media. There's just a lot of information about social media, and does it work? And people are home now. Are they on Facebook? I thought that it would be a good time for us. One of the things I know that you can talk through is using social media as a interaction with your customer versus a lead generator. How do you target? How do you use that? Talk to me a little bit about that, because it's something that's come up a lot lately during this pandemic, as people are actually very effectively using it.
Yep.
And so talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and it can seem a bit lightweight probably for some of the people on the phone, and then some people are probably very savvy at it and know that it works. So, but essentially it's kind of a different side of your business. It's the conversation you're having with your customer. It's, how you're presenting your more human side of your business. And you don't have to be that way, but it's an opportunity to. So I'm spitting when I talk here, but so
all the time.
you can here, let me take a drink of water here. It's a tall tale sign of trapped. Okay. Parched over here. You could post pictures of having fun at the shop. Is it another ad platform that you're using? Get 2 for $20, posting ads, which can be boring. Is this where you repost your Donald Trump stuff? Inevitably, it's up to you as a business owner, kind of how you want to present your business. I think it's good to have a little of everything, probably minus the politics. What we've seen work, though, is kind of a handful of shops posts. They could include like employee spotlights, accolades, community involvement, maintenance tips, and that's kind of the organic posting. And then you want to also have an ad buy, so that's where you're being promotional. So your organic stuff is probably not, obviously it's not going to get out there that well, and Facebook's made it really hard for those posts to saturate the people who have liked your page. I think 5% of all the people who have liked your page are seeing those posts. So keep those posts organic, but then when you have a promotion or you're running something where you're actually you're making money off of that, that's the one that you want to sponsor. And then we can, manage a full ad campaign. And we usually try to get people to spend anywhere between like $500 and $1,500 on a Facebook ad buy to get some healthy, traction on it. And like I said, Facebook does own Instagram, so ads can be used across both platforms. And like I said, with the Facebook Pixel, you can also create a campaign that's just remarketing to people. So if you don't want to go full kilt on Facebook, but you want to make sure like people that are going to your website, when they're flipping through Facebook that night, they see your ad, we can run a remarketing campaign on Facebook. So it's a great platform. You can have a lot of fun and you can really get the ears of a lot of people. You can throw events, so it's great. I like it.
No, I think that's great information. So I think too, for you folks on the online, a couple of ways, again, just as a summary is, you can just have interaction with your customers through posting, back and forth, to your customers. You can do ad buys, right, where you actually are out posting ads. A third way, I know that a lot of our customers, they have an address delivery system now, where if you actually have your customer's address, you can actually send ads directly to your customer now. So maybe, in some markets, the general Facebook posting works really well for you, right? In other instances, maybe you have to target your Facebook more, right? Where you're only sending those ads to people who are on your customer database list because you get a better return. A lot of options. The key is, what Rusty will do, and it's this report that you can look at. You'll get it for free, guys, if you sign up. Is it'll tell you how you're doing, and then you can decide what, if any, part of social media should I spend my money on. A couple of questions came up with social media, Rusty. Is what should be my number one goal for social media? I guess that's going to depend on what your goals are, right?
I would say branding, but essentially it's a platform that you can monetize. You want to get people into your shop, so essentially you're building your reputation on there because you are having a conversation. You are showing your human side, so you have to be careful. But you want to be fun and welcoming, and yeah, you definitely want to have that conversation, but you want to have really good ads, so you can, get people in the shop.
So I think that the key there is, if you're wanting to build your brand, then your brand awareness campaign will look completely different than what a lead generation campaign would look like. Where your lead generation campaign may be more geared towards specific targeting of people on your current customer database, or there's specific criteria that you're going after. There's ways for you guys to look and check and find out what your opportunity is there, and test it out and see if it's something that fits for you guys. Last question on social media before we move on is, how many posts per week, organic and ads? Like, how many should you do? I know it'll vary. I think you said 500 to 1,500. I've seen people do, and guys, when we say that kind of money, I want you to think about this as return on investment. This isn't throwing money out into the wild blue yonder with no accountability. This is, if we're going to spend $300, $400, $500, $1,000, we're anticipating a response and a return of blank, right? So this is very calculated. With the technology and data now of analyzing your industry, your market, what you're doing, there's ways for us now to really make sure we hone in on exactly what that spend should be, and build in ways to track it and measure it. And so just when he starts throwing out numbers, guys, it's not like, oh yeah, I've heard that before, $1,000 here, $1,000 there. There's going to be a definitive amount that you should be doing, and we're going to track it and hold ourselves accountable to it. So with that, Rusty, how many per week, per month, ads, organic versus ads? I mean, what are your thoughts?
As many as you want. I mean, I would say we have a program where we post four branded posts a week, and then we encourage businesses to post on their own. But I would say anywhere from maybe 2 or 3 a day, or that would probably be the max. I think 4 a day would be the max I would post, and then 4 a week would be okay as well. You just want to make sure that you have some relative content there, and people can get a good idea of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, and guys, I would tell you, before you spend any money on social media, even if you're not doing any kind of work with us, give us a call. Rusty, we've got some other folks, Madison, some folks that can really help you out. It's good to have some information. So go into conversations, whether it's with us or go in with your current provider with some ammunition, some data. So really great stuff. Let's go on to the next slide because we're almost done, guys. If you have questions, again, that have been great questions that come up. Here's that great secret I've been holding off on you guys. We're doing this free digital snapshot report. If you're on this webinar or listen to this webinar, afterwards, Sydney, our marketing manager, is going to send out an email, kind of a follow-up. I would highly encourage you guys to get this report. Even if you're using it, whether it's with us or you have somebody that handles all those items we just talked about, this is an unbiased third-party report that really truly understands and talks to you a little bit about how well you're doing. I mean, one of the things I think, Rusty, we didn't talk about as much was the Google listings, right? Where Rusty was telling me about where you use Google listings, right? And in front of you, you guys kind of see a scoring system, right? Where you see on the top left, you see kind of what it'll be your store name, address, city, state, zip, and all, and it'll have some pictures. But then below that overall score, it's gonna look at your Google listings. And if your Google listings are set up, it's amazing to me how many times we run this report and people think that, man, and I've got all that wired and it's an F. And so what that means is you're spending all this money on, whether it's postcards or whether it's SEO or pay-per-click, you're spending all this money for people to try to find you, only to struggle to actually locate you when they do get in there. Let's spend 1 minute, actually. You were telling me the other day how there's just a multitude of sites now that have to be accurate. It's just not like a site. Can you talk a little bit about that? I don't think we spent a lot of time about that, but it's the easiest, least expensive way to immediately have an impact on your business.
Yeah, so we actually have a system where we can control your data across all these different SERPs, which includes Yelp, Foursquare, your Google listing is one of those. And it looks at that data and it makes sure that it's all correct. Your address is correct. Does one address have the suite and one doesn't? Did you change your phone number and it's only changed on half of your listings? Are your hours the same on the listings? So we're looking at all of that data and making sure it's correct, and also, keeping an eye out on your reviews as well. And one thing I mentioned before is those listings being correct is one of the key data points of your local Google listing. So if all of your data is a little different across all those different SERPs like Yelp and Foursquare. Google puts that data in its pocket and it says, well, we're not sure if we want to bring this guy to the top because are they even open still? I mean, they got different phone number information. You know, we want to make sure that we're not showing a listing where the phone number doesn't work anymore. So you're going to get bumped down under your competition. So that's one of those quick wins that we work on for you when we're working on your SEO and local SEO, because this is an optimization tactic that we're working on, you know, online. So
this is what I thought was crazy. You can spend all that time and money, and Google actually uses listings as a way of how they index you as a company to determine whether or not you're credible and reliable and should be on that first page. And so you could have done everything right, have great reviews, great service. You're paying $1,000 a month for SEO, everything that, you know, you got pay-per-clicks, and then people go in though and they're searching for auto repair and you still don't make it onto the first page. You're on page 4. If you do nothing more than get this report to make sure this is accurate, it costs you nothing, guys. And this report will help you guys really understand where you're at. But you're going to look at reviews. It's going to see your reviews and how you compare to other people. Social, you know, where do you compare with your competitors? Your advertising, your SEO, your website. Rusty, any couple minute, 2-minute comments on this report? How important is this report for you when you talk to customers?
It's very important. And typically we go by this report to talk to them. So we're reviewing every single point of this report, scrolling down. I think it spends about a page on every single item. So it's about 6 to 8 page report. And yeah, it's instrumental because we don't know, you know, somebody calls in and they want all these services and we need to gauge where they're at currently, you know, where they left off with their other agency or where they're at now, they're doing it themselves. And it really helps us gauge, okay, where do they need to spend money? What do we need to pitch them? And this is how we can show them that they need it. And then we can show you how that grade changes. And actually this is accessible when we have a service where you're paying for it. We actually can give access to this live, so you can see this live data and you can see how it changes. So
yeah, I think it's important. If you work with us or work with somebody else, this is one of those accountability measures in there. You can track your provider who's ever doing these items for you, us included, and where do we start? Where do we look? Where are we compared to our competitors? And where do we want to be? It's hard to make a plan and decide how much to spend and really set goals if you don't know where your start is. Kind of like, trying to get yourself from, California to Florida without a map, and someone spins you around on the beach and says, go. Right. And so it's really important that you kind of understand where you're at, so that when you get to that, you can get to that destination. And so great information, guys. I would absolutely encourage you guys you'll get this email afterwards, but it's going to uncover issues that you guys never knew you had. I guarantee you, I was shocked. I did one of these for a large customer in Washington the other day, and he could not believe how some of these grades showed up, and unfortunately one of his digital guys was on the phone with us, and so I can tell you it's an important piece for you guys. So we'll go on. I think that's the last slide. I think we go into the next one. If anyone has any questions, I know we covered a lot of questions. We've got about 7 minutes left here at the most. Rusty, anything else that you want to talk through real quick to last kind of finish up? And we really appreciate your time. Is there anything you want to kind of last thoughts to leave the customer?
Well, well, first of all, I just want to tell you, I think all you do is put in your name and your email address, you can get the snapshot report. So that's quick and easy. Just click on the link in the email. As far as getting started with these different services, it's good to throw a little money at everything because they all work together in sync, especially with remarketing, Google and social SEO. You don't have to, everything's not $1,000. You can get up there, but if you do want to work on this and this inspired you in some way to contact us or contact Upswell, I think that it's good to just be honest with what your budget is overall for marketing, and we can make it work for you. So that's really it. That's all I have to say.
Excellent. Well,
great day out. Can't wait to get back out in the sun.
Yes, me too. Well, I tell you guys, you've been great. You're going to get, as I mentioned, an email. Rusty, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Yep.
From a guy who used to be a direct mail guy, I am a absolute converted digital direct mail guy. Guys, I can't tell you how many success stories I have seen over the last 12 months of people doing a really good job of creating an omni-channel approach, evaluating all the marketing tactics, guys, being unbiased. It's not about postcards. It's not about SEO. It's not about social media. It's about what's best for your shop. How do you best get your marketing spend? How do you get your shop, a lot of you guys, how do you get out of this pandemic and get rolling again, right? What are the tactics we can use that are cost effective, that are reliable, and that we can track and improve and grow? So hopefully you guys gained a lot of great information off this. One of the, I didn't quite get to all the questions out there, but I will tell you, if you have some questions, there's an email at grow@upswellmarketing.com. Please send those to us. We'll get them to Rusty. Rusty will share that information with you guys. Again, this is an educational opportunity, not a sales pitch. It's our job as a company, as your partners, to provide you guys with guidance and information. Hopefully we did that. We're all passionate about helping you guys. I think the automotive repair industry, guys, is about ready to take off. People are not going to be driving or flying in planes. They're going to be taking vacations where they can get in cars. I've talked to dozens and dozens of owners of some of the most successful shops in the country. Everybody kind of agrees this is going to be a great third and fourth quarter for you guys. So hang in there, ramp up, get your information in line, guys, and have a great rest of the year. Rusty, thank you so much.
Thanks for
everybody.
having me.
Come in, look for that email, guys, and respond back as fast as possible. Give us a couple of days. Everybody on this call should get that report. Thanks so much. Have a great day, and we'll see everybody next time.
Have a good one.